Y'all, we're making poke cake. Come on. Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the random web series where we find and test the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, we're tackling low carb poke cake. Stay tuned. Yo. Hold on. The camera tries to focus on my big old fat head instead of that gorgeous cake. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Ma'am. That tastes like childhood. All right, guys, low carb poke cake. Why is it called a poke cake? Well, because you bake a cake, poke a bunch of holes in it, pour some yummy stuff over it, set it in the refrigerator, and you're left with a cold and creamy, moist, wet cake sponge that is delicious. I know it sounds weird, but it is a Southern staple, and I imagine a staple in a lot of places where you like desserts and warm weather. So what better way to do this than by testing two very popular low carb recipes. I wanted to do a fruit version and a creamy version. So we're going to start with Keto Coconut Cream Poke Cake, and this is by the website alldayidreamaboutfood.com. And I can tell you that it's probably going to come out great because her coconut cream pie is one of the best things I've ever made in 6 years of cooking on this channel. So Carolyn over at All Day I Dream About Food, we're going to try her coconut cream poke cake. And then on the fruit side of things, because there's always one that's made with Jello, right? And this is Keto Poke Cake. It's the old-fashioned vanilla cake with strawberry gelatin, strawberry Jello poured over and allowed to set. And this is by the website fit2servegroup.com. All the links are going to be here on the screen and in the video description below. Now, before we begin though, I need to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of this video, Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store on a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everybody with guaranteed savings on every order. You guys know I have been working with them for probably over 3 years now. I truly get most, if not all, of my staples for this channel and just for regular life from there. I love their coconut flour and their store brand almond flour. You know I am very particular about my superfine almond flour. Now you can shop for their catalog for thousands of name brand products by the values that matter most to you. For us, that's going to be low carb and keto, but it could be paleo, non-GMO, BPA free, organic, whatever it is that matters most to you. You can shop for groceries, snacks, baby products, food products, household products. Now, like a lot of big box discount stores, there is a membership fee to join Thrive Market. You can do month to month just to see if it's for you, or you can do like me, get the year membership, gets the cost down to about $5 a month, and I know I'm going to at least save that. In fact, my last order, I paid, I think, about $50, $50.46, I think is what it was. And I saved, here it is, what, 30? I'll put it on screen. So you can really get some fantastic deals. In fact, they have a happiness guarantee. If you don't like Thrive Market, quit in the first 30 days. At the end of the year, if you haven't saved as much as your membership fee, they will actually credit you that difference. So it's a win-win all the way around. For every membership they sell, they give one away to a person in need, a firefighter, first responder, teacher, or other needy individuals. So thank you, Thrive Market, for sponsoring this video. Guys, if you want to support me, go support them. Go to thrivemarket.com/highfalutin-low-carb and you will get 30% off your first order and free gifts valued up to $60. So thank you, Thrive Market, for sponsoring this. It's sponsorships like yours that keep channels like mine on the air, and for that I am truly appreciative. All right, let's go make some poke cake. Come on. All right, guys, so let's get started on our first recipe. This is the Keto Coconut Cream Poke Cake by Carolyn over at alldayidreamaboutfood.com. Again, use the link here or in the video description below. So this is pretty easy, but there are several steps to both of these cakes, so I'm gonna go pretty quickly here. Let's make the cake version of this. We're gonna start with almond flour, and we want to, I know, I say it, sift, y'all. I store my nut flours in the freezer, and it can get lumpy, and this is the only way to get them out. So that I'm asking you to do. If it's a new bag, sometimes you don't have to. But to this, we're also gonna add in egg white protein powder. You could use whey protein or egg white. I had egg white on hand, so that's what I'm using here today. And then a swerve granulated sweetener, and I'm gonna add that in here. If you wanna know exact amounts, look at the video description below. Invariably, after 20 million views, literally, I just passed, thank you, and 300,000 almost subscribers, invariably there are multiple comments on every video. You didn't give instructions, you didn't give ingredients, I don't know how to do it, where's the link? It's in the video description below. These aren't my recipes, I'm just here to test them. The people that did do the hard work, they deserve the traffic, so be sure to use the links below and go to their sites. All right, we've got most of this settled here, and now we're gonna add in, this is baking powder, not soda, baking powder and salt. And we're just gonna finish sifting this out real quick. Okay, whisk this together. The other dry ingredient that wouldn't fit through the sieve is coconut flakes. She called for shredded coconut. I thought I had shredded coconut, but I'd actually purchased coconut flakes. So that may affect the texture just a wee bit, but a shred versus a flake hopefully won't cause that dramatic of a difference in our final result. So to this, we're gonna add our liquid ingredients, and the first of those is egg whites. We've got a little bit of avocado oil, and then as well, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And here is where we're actually gonna add, she says, she gives you two amounts, a third to a half a cup of almond milk until you get a pourable batter. So that's what I'm gonna do, hold on. Okay, this is unsweetened almond milk here, and I'm just gonna, this is a half a cup. I may not use it all. I'm just gonna pour some in now and see where we get. Let's just stir this together. We need a pourable batter. Okay, so I have got a 9 by 9 inch pan. I did have to use all of the liquid in the recipe to get it pourable. And I have already buttered this pan, and it is well prepared. And we're gonna bake this at 325 for 20 to 25 minutes until the edges are browned and the center is sort of firm. My concern with keto poke cake or low carb poke cake is without the gluten, you know, a lot of these nut flour recipes sort of disintegrate upon contact with a liquid. And I'm concerned about pouring, you know, jello, liquid jello or liquid cream into a already baked cake. I'm concerned with that because of the structure and holding up. So we're going to find out. So this goes in, like I said, 325, and I'm going to clean up here, get started on our second recipe because we're going to bake both of the cakes, and they have to cool completely before we can go poking in them. All right, so I'll be back here in just a few minutes. See you in a bit. All right, guys, we're back for our second recipe. First recipe is still in the oven, has just a few minutes left. If you hear the timer go off, that's why. Our second recipe is Keto Poke Cake. This is by the website fit2servegroup.com. This is the old-fashioned vanilla cake with strawberry jello, strawberry gelatin, interior, I guess you could say. So we're going to start out this with some almond flour and some baking powder and salt, and I just want to get them sifted. This was a new bag of almond flour, so it hasn't lived in the fridge too long, so it's not a lot of clumps, but there are some. And then also baking powder and salt. All right, sift this out real quick. Okay, so our dry ingredients are sifted. We're just gonna put them over to the side for a moment and turn our attention to the wet ingredients. And here's where we're gonna beat some sugar and sugar substitute, I guess you should say, into our cream cheese and butter. So in this goes, I don't need to sift it because it's just gonna, the mixer's gonna take care of that work. Into this, we're gonna add in some butter, softened. Hopefully I have softened it enough. And then also 8 ounces of full fat cream cheese. This goes right in, also have softened that. To this, we're gonna add in a little bit of vanilla extract. Okay, I'm gonna save these eggs because first we've got to get this cream. So I'm gonna do that now. If the buzzer goes off, I'll stop and take that cake out, but you won't know because I'm gonna speed this up so you don't have to watch it. See you in a bit. We're almost to a point where we're ready to add these eggs. There's 8 whole eggs here. I'm just gonna drop them in one at a time. It says to incorporate after each one. So I'm just gonna keep the mixer going and slowly add them in and get this incorporated, all right? Okay, all our liquid ingredients are ready. Now I'm going to slowly add in this per the instructions, the dry into the wet, and make sure this all gets combined. So we're going to do that now, and then we're ready to throw it in a pan and throw it in the oven. Okay, just wanted to show you real quick the other cake that just came out. It's a little bit browned around the edges, firm, but slightly jiggly in the middle. I think that's where we want it. It took me about 27 minutes to get here. All right, it's going on in the cooling rack in the back. Okay, so our batter is ready, and y'all, this is a big cake. This is multiple cups of almond flour, multiple cups of sweetener, 8 eggs. This is a big boy, right? So this is going to go in a 9 by 13. I'm using a metal pan here, and gosh, this bowl is heavy. This goes in 350, so I've just cranked up the oven. I'm going to wait for it to come to temperature. And then this is going to go in for how long? How long did it say? 35 to 45 minutes, okay? And then, as you know, all of this has to cool completely. So I'm going to let this cool for a few hours while I go run some other errands. And then I'm going to come back and we will make our filling after we poke, right, for our poke cake. And then it's got to chill in the fridge. So there's a couple more steps, but we're almost there. So this is going to go in the oven just shortly for 35 minutes. And I will meet you guys back here maybe later tonight. But through the TV magic, it's now. All right, guys, so we are back. It's actually the next morning. I let those cakes rest on the counter overnight. After they had cooled, I covered them loosely with some plastic wrap, so they're ready for us. But now we need to make the filling to go in the holes that we're about to poke. So we're going to start in a little bit in reverse with the second recipe. This is the strawberry fruit one. This is the Keto Poke Cake by Fit2Serve Group.com, and we're just making Jell-O here, right? But here is where there might be an issue. I don't give ingredients, but I'm going to in this instance. In the recipe, it says 1.6 ounce package of sugar-free strawberry gelatin, Jell-O, which I have here, 0.6 ounces, and it's the sugar-free. And then it says a cup of boiling water and a cup of ice water. All right, so that's 2 cups of liquid, but ice water. But then on the back in the instructions it says, while the cake is cooling, prepare the gelatin according to the directions on the box using ice water. If you look at the directions on the box, it doesn't say a cup of boiling water and a cup of ice water. It says 2 cups of boiling water and 2 cups of cold water, or the speed set method, which is a 1.5 cups of boiling water and a cup of cold ice water makes 2.5 cups. So long story short, I'm following the directions on the box for the quick set method because that'll should yield around 4 cups of liquid. So this is just off the boil. This water here is warm and ready to take our gelatin. And yes, this has red food dye in it. This has aspartame. It has acesulfame, or however you say it, ACE K sweetener. So this is going to be a question for you if you want to use, a commercial product like Jell-O. If you don't, there are I'm guaranteeing you there's got to be some all-natural fruit-flavored gelatins. They probably may not be sugar-free, but you can use some strawberry extract, a little bit of beetroot powder, and some unflavored gelatin, and probably come up with something pretty close to what you're looking at here. You could even make it without the red coloring if you wanted to, but that's kind of what makes it pretty. Anyway, long story short, this needs to set for about 30 minutes in the fridge. So I'm going to add our cup of ice water with ice, and this is going to go in the fridge, and she said let it set for about 30 minutes. Remember when I was saying I had a little bit of trepidation about keto poke cakes, because when you start to introduce liquid into keto baked goods, it kind of just disintegrates. And so she specifically says the cake has to be completely cool, and do not pour this warm onto that cake. Let this sit in the fridge and almost solidify, not solid, but get thick in about a half hour and then pour it in your cake. So that's what we're gonna do now. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge while it sits back there. By the way, I just posted this the other day. I get asked more about this little thing right here than anything on my channel. This is literally, it's called a spiral whisk. I'll leave a link to it down below. It is an invaluable tool. I love it. It gets in the corners of pans great, but invariably I get 10 comments on every video I use it in. What is that little whisk? It's a spiral whisk. All right, this is gonna go in the fridge and I'll be right back here to clean up, and we're gonna start our filling for the coconut cream poke cake. All right, meet you right back here. We're starting now the filling, the coconut pudding filling for Keto Coconut Cream Poke Cake by All Day I Dream About Food. And this starts with coconut cream. And when I say coconut cream, I mean unsweetened coconut cream. Do not use cream of coconut. That is an entirely different thing that has tons of sugar and tastes delicious, but it's made for mixed cocktails and fruity drinks and other things, and not for keto or low carb. I've got some of that in here, and then I'm gonna add in some allulose. This is just granulated allulose, and we're gonna, over medium heat, just whisk this together and bring this to almost a simmer. So I'm gonna do that now and speed this up. Okay, you can see we're just at a simmer. This needs to constantly be moving. And now we're gonna turn our attention to these eggs. We used 4 eggs yesterday. This is 3 of the egg yolks saved from yesterday. You'll probably be making this in one day. We're gonna add some coconut extract to this. Whew, that smells like a bottle of suntan lotion. A little bit of coconut extract, and we're gonna whisk these eggs and then temper them with this simmering coconut milk mixture. Pour half of this in to temper that. Okay. Wipe the bottom because you know you made a mess like I just did. Put this back on the heat, pour this back in, and then we're going to continually stir this and whisk it over medium heat for 3 to 5 minutes until this starts to thicken up, and then we'll remove it from the heat and let it cool for a few moments. So I'll speed this up so you can see how thick it's going to get, and then I'll meet you back here in just a few minutes. All right, so this has been about 4 minutes, and as you can see, it's nice and thick. We need to let it cool for a few minutes, she said, before we pour it on our cake. So it's off heat now because that's induction, so there's no heat there. And then you take a dowel or a skewer. This is so thick that honestly an end of a spoon is a little better than a thin skewer, because it's got to get down in the hole. It's too viscous. So let's poke, 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 right? Poke cake. The fun stuff is to pour this right over and make sure it gets in the little holes. You may have to do some coaxing. And spread it evenly over the cake. And then this goes to live for at least 2 hours in the fridge before we make our whipped cream topping and are able to eat it. So obviously we've got a little more waiting to do, unfortunately, but for you that's going to be just a few seconds worth of wait. And I've got about 10 minutes left before my Jell-O is fully set and ready to pour over our cake. So I'm going to cut off the camera for just a second until that's done. I'm going to try to coax this into these holes a little more. All right, I'm going to work on this. I'll see you in a bit. Meet you back here in 5 minutes. All right, guys, we're back. This is almost congealed, as you can see. It's been 30 minutes. It's not quite set, but it's getting there. So now we just need to do some pokes in here. Pour this on. You can do this again with skewers. This is a little easier to pour because it's not so viscous as that pudding. So you're actually gonna, like water in a flood, it's gonna seek its lowest ground. It'll seek low ground. So you don't have to coax it as much as I did that other one, which I think turned out okay. So, boop. Now pour this on, try to get it somewhat even. And I will say that this was almost the 4 cups of liquid. So I think that's, if I had made this using the written instructions to just use 1 cup of water and 1 cup of boiling water, 1 cup of ice water, I wouldn't have had enough for this to do its thing. Now let's see if we can coax this down in these holes. I did have to like sink the air bubbles the last time too. So I'm just going to spread this out. You'll see me do that. I'm going to refrigerate them both for at least 2 hours until they're fully cool. We'll be back here to make the topping, the whipped topping, and test these. And we're almost there, guys. I'll see you back here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, you made it. We're here. We're gonna get these chilled cakes out of the fridge. We're gonna put a topping on them. We're gonna taste them, see what we think about them, talk about the macros, and go from there. This is gonna be very fast. We're just whipping a couple of batches of cream. The first recipe is the coconut cream poke cake, keto coconut cream poke cake by All Day I Dream About Food over Carolyn, our friend over there. We started with some heavy whipping cream here in the KitchenAid. We're gonna add a little bit of confectioner's swerve to this. Again, if you want to know how much, you know where to go. We're also going to add just a little bit of vanilla extract here. And then this is just going to go until we get stiff peaks. So I'm just going to start this, let it go, speed it up, and then we'll go from there and decorate the cake. All right, see you in just a second. Our cream is here. I just want to scrape from the bottom, make sure we got it all. We've only got to cover a little 9 by 9 pan. Now, here is our baked and puddinged cake, and we're just gonna put this over the top evenly, and then we're gonna gild the lily a little bit and sprinkle a little more of the coconut flakes or shredded coconut, whichever you used, on the top. And then we're gonna move to our other cake real quick so we can get them both iced. Oh, this looks so pretty. And most of your topping, you know, your filling, a lot of it's going to live on top just because that's just the way poke cakes are. Sometimes it don't make it all the way down to the bottom. Bloop. All right, looky, looky, looky. Okay, that's going over to the side. Oh, I forgot. Most importantly, our decor coconut. So you know what's in it. All right, looky, looky, looky. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. All right, so we're ready to do the topping for our second cake. This is Keto Poke Cake, the strawberry version. This is by Fit to Serve group. I've got my heavy cream already in my previously used bowl. The ingredients are so negligible it won't make any difference at all. We're also using the same sweetener, confectioner's swerve, and then a little bit of softened cream cheese. This is gonna help, she said, stabilize the egg white. So I hope that gets mixed in. And then we're just going to set this off and let it do its thing and speed it up, and I'll meet you right back here. Look how pretty that is. Hello. And it's so my fridge, I've got a little cold spot in my fridge, and just in the 2.5 hours, that little corner right there is frozen. So, but anyway, that's beautiful to me. So let's put this topping on, and then we'll go over nutrition and see what we think about all of this. All right, guys, you made it. We're here. Let's test these things. This is our first one. The 9 by 13 here is the Keto Poke Cake by fit2servegroup.com. Now let's talk about the nutrition here. This says it makes 30 servings. Ma'am, you would have to have a telescope and a surgical blade to get 30 servings out of that. So I'm just going to let it go for what it is. You calculate accordingly, please. If you cut 30 tiny little slivers out of this thing, one serving is 300 calories. You got 22.5 grams of fat. You have got 6.2 grams of protein. You have got 5.1 grams of total carbs, 2.5 grams of fiber for what comes to 2.6 grams of net carbs per serving. If you make 30 of them. Now also, her recipe says to use almost 3 pints of berries to decorate the top of this. I'm going to be much more judicious in that and just put a few slices of berries on each serving, but just know that her calculations probably do include all of that fruit. Now, our second cake, this is the one here, the 9x9. This is the Keto Coconut Cream Poke Cake. This makes 16 servings, also kind of small, but more manageable than 30 out of that thing, come on. If you make 16 servings, one slice is 280 calories. You got 7.8 grams of protein, 27.3 grams of fat. You have got 6.4 grams of total carbs, 2.4 grams of fiber, which makes it 4 grams of net carbs per serving if you get 16. So most importantly, what do they taste like? We're not really competing against each other because one's creamy and one's fruity, but was it worth the effort to make these cakes? Let's see. Oh, yo. Hold on. The camera tries to focus on my big old fat head instead of that gorgeous cake. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. First things first, here's the strawberry one. It is a very dense cake, but that's part of the magic of a poke cake. Look at that. Okay. That tastes like childhood. You know, I thought, that is fantastic. The cake, even with those 8 eggs in it, cannot taste the egg. What I thought I would be most offended by was the aspartame and the Ace K and the other sweeteners in the Jell-O. There's so many other natural and artificial sweeteners in this with the erythritol and some allulose blends. It's not bothering me really at all. Okay. This thing looks gorgeous. It is also very dense. Here's our cream version. This is the coconut cream. That is a big old bite, but y'all. I'll be back in a minute. Y'all, both of these are out of the park good. I'm not joking you. The almond flour is not very dense as I thought it would be. The egg white protein powder helps in here. The eggs help in here. Please make one of these. Please make one of these. Both of these are fantastic. Go to alldayidreamaboutfood.com, fit2servegroup.com. Make one of these. Come back. Let me know in the comments if you did it and what you thought about it. So there you have it, folks. Low carb poke cake. Can it be done? Yes, yes. Very well, very easily, and very deliciously. I say it every time, thank you for coming along for these videos. This is a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, and looking into the end of that camera as often as I can helps keep me honest. So I appreciate that you guys have come along for the journey. So I'm asking you, if you will, to give this video a like. It'll let the YouTube algorithm know that this is a video that other people might find interesting too. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button down below. And if you are a subscriber, hit the bell button so you'll know this just as soon as I release a new video. Also, I'm over on Facebook and Instagram, just under Highfalutin Low Carb. I talk a little more frequently, a little more freely there. So if you want to join me in those platforms, please do. And I need to again thank my sponsor of this video, Thrive Market. Guys, be sure to go check them out. Sponsorships aren't why I do this, they're how I do this. So sponsorships like Thrive Market are very important to this channel, and I love them and have been using them, like I said, for many years and will continue to do so. So go to thrivemarket.com/Highfalutin Low Carb, and you will get 30% off your first order and free gifts valued at up to $60 on that first order. So thank you, Thrive Market, for that. And lastly, I need to thank my rock stars, my Patreon members. You're gonna see their names start to scroll over here. If you don't know what Patreon is, think of it as the tip jar for the internet that allows people like you who enjoy what people like me do here on YouTube. You can give $1 or $2 a month just to keep the train on the tracks, as it were. So thank you for them, to those guys. Without them, none of this would be possible. They truly are my rock stars. All right, guys, I love you so much. I will see you very soon. And remember, today is a good day to have a good day. Bye-bye.